everyone, it's Jodie from Angel Awakenings here. I'm just coming on today because I wanted to talk around the topic of forgiveness and how we can sometimes misunderstand what that means and how it can harm us when we're not forgiving correctly. And this all came up because I had a client last week who came to me and wanted to release anger and resentment that was in her body. She could feel it. She couldn't shift it herself, and so she wanted help from her angels. And we've got a number of archangels and archaea that can help with that, especially Archangel Michael and Archaea Faith. They're very strong, powerful, clearing energies. They have the blue and the gold sapphire ray, so that's a very healing and cleansing energy once it comes into your aura. And we also worked with Raphael and Virtue. So Raphael and Virtue are the healing angels, so they can heal on physical levels, but also spiritual, emotional and mental. And this client of mine was suffering emotionally with the feeling of anger and resentment, and also she was having some physical issues manifest because of that, which we all know. We are holistic beings, so our emotions can manifest into physical problems, and she's liaising with hospitals and doctors to get this seen to. So we I gave her some counselling after the session because what came up with the angels was their message was there was someone in particular she needed to forgive. And she knew exactly what I meant when I talked to her about it. And she said, I've spent so many years forgiving this person. I let them back in, and they keep doing the same thing over and over to me. And in the end, I just cut them off. But she cut them off feeling the anger and the resentment of them repeatedly taking advantage of her forgiveness in what her eyes was forgiving, and her eyes in forgiving was letting them back in again. And I think if you're a spiritual seeker, if you're someone that's just very open-hearted, if you're codependent, or if you're an empath or a light worker, we can sometimes feel that forgiving is about, we're all about unconditional love, non-judgment, giving people second chances, and that's how she was seeing forgiveness, and that's how I used to see it. I used to always sort of, give someone a second chance, and we've got to understand their position. And it's very easy for if you're an empath to see that other person's insecurities and problems and pain behind what they're doing to you. So it is sometimes easy to be like, I know why they're doing that. That's their inner child wounding, and I can understand that, and I'm just going to let them back in because I know it's not them, it's their wounds. But that's not always good or healthy for you, because that doesn't mean the person's going to stop what they're doing to you that's causing harm or upset or emotional turmoil. And it might not be a person, it could be a situation. It could be lots of things that happen in our life that we want to forgive or feel we should forgive. So, but with this client, it was a particular person. And so my counselling to her, my invitation to her, and also from the angels, was that to forgive someone, it's more about you. It's more about you being able to look at that behaviour or that situation, accept that is them or it, that is what it is, and be able to create the boundary that you want to create that feels good for you, feels right for you, and doesn't leave you feeling anger and resentment because you keep forgiving someone and letting them back in, and they're repeating that behaviour, and you're building up this real emotional energy in you that's harming you. It's because it's going to stop you going forward, it's going to stop you manifesting, it's going to stop you being in that high vibration, because you're allowing a situation or someone to just keep coming in and repeating what's happening. And so I said to her, I gave her an example of my situation. So I separated from my partner of 20 years about 5 years ago, and he's the father of my 3 kids. And it, as much as I wanted it to be an amicable separation, it wasn't, and there was some toxic behaviour and actions and words that has come from him over the years. And at first I wanted to put it right. I wanted us to get on and co-parent, and I didn't want to lose a friendship with him. So I would just forgive these really toxic and harmful actions and behaviours and energy, and just let it come back in to my life. I would be around him, and I would just do my best to deal with it, because we had kids together. And part of me also, if I'm honest, was I was still in a pattern of codependency. And it got so bad, and I ended up getting so not just upset, but just ill and low in my mood, and I couldn't move forward with my life because I was constantly churning over these feelings of anger and resentment of what he was doing and why he kept doing it, even though I was trying my hardest to make things work. And in the end, I had to cut him off. I had to ban him from my house. I had to block him from my phone. I rarely see him or speak to him now. And, I still try and foster a good relationship with him and his kids, but I am done. As though no more. But the key part that I worked with my angels with, and they were just so powerful, and I couldn't have done it without them, was I had to shift my energy. I had to shift at the energetic level. It wasn't enough to just say, okay, I'll cut you off, because I would have still had the energy of anger and hurt and betrayal in my energy. So I worked with Michael and Faith and Raphael and Virtue and other angels, just to keep clearing my energy until I got to a space where I just accepted this is him. This is always going to be the situation. I couldn't change it. And it was very freeing when I could just accept him for who he was. But I had made my own boundary, which felt good for me, was to not have him in my life. But I also, through working with the angels and doing my own inner healing work, I am able to not hold any resentment in my being about him. And actually, when I'm in a good space and when I'm meditating and connected to my angels, I actually feel complete unconditional love for him, and that is very freeing. And don't get me wrong, sometimes he's still a complete a-hole. It's really hard because he can trigger me, but that is just a pattern within me. And then I have to do the work. I have to call in the angels, have to ground myself. I have to let the angels help me dissolve any anger and resentment and anything he's triggered me with, and then we can go on again. So it's a lifelong thing, isn't it? We're constantly being given little challenges and reminders, have you really forgiven, and have you really done the work, and have you forgiven in the way that for me, I think is that works for me, is about not necessarily letting a situation back in and not letting a person back in, but creating your boundary with your energy and with your mental decisions and feeling good about that, and then being able to release. It's releasing that anger and resentment, because it only affects you. It doesn't affect the other person. It affects you when you're hanging on to the anger and resentment. So I just wanted to share that with you today, because it's a really powerful topic, especially for empaths, I think, and spiritual seekers, because we need to understand the balance between, letting behaviours continue that we're not happy with, and creating a boundary that's safe for us. And if you want to know more about how Archangel Michael and Archeia Faith work in terms of shifting your energy, and also how Raphael and Virtue can help you forgive within your heart chakra, then yeah, just send me a message, and you know, I can do a post, or yeah, I offer distance healings. Yeah, just get in touch and I'll be happy to share more. And so I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll speak soon. Bye.